Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me here at Gambling Investor. My name is Luke, and today we're going to be talking about one of my positions in my investing portfolio, Texas Roadhouse. But first, a quick disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor nor a gambling advisor. Please, if you're buying stocks, whether you're investing into funds or individual stocks, do your own diligence, unless you just like gambling like I do sometimes. All right, let's jump in. So, Texas Roadhouse. If you don't know what Texas Roadhouse is, it is a casual dining steakhouse, very, very affordable prices. They also have another chain that's a sports bar, which, just like Texas Roadhouse, is made from scratch food and has just a very, very cool vibe. They also have a quick service restaurant called Jaggers, which is only a few locations at this point. So, we are going to talk a little bit about this man right here, which is Kent Taylor. He is the founder, the whole reason Texas Roadhouse exists. Unfortunately, he passed a few years back, but what he created still lives on, and you can see in the numbers the culture that he has created and cultivated while he was here is going strong, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. And that's why I am investing in Texas Roadhouse and have been for a while. They overtook Olive Garden, I think a year or so back, as the highest revenue earner for casual dining. You can see right here. Here's the top 10. Olive Garden's right behind them at $5 billion. Chili's 4.5, and you can see on down the thing, the top 10 there. So yeah, they are doing good. If you'd invested $100 in 2020 into Texas Roadhouse, you would now have turned it into 230, which is amazing. And this is including with dividends. They're assuming that you're investing all the dividends back into the company. Same thing with this S&P number. If you had invested $100, you would be almost at $200. So $30 a share doesn't sound like much, but when you start multiplying those numbers, say you had 100 shares or 1,000 shares, the numbers get quite big. And the compounding effects over time are just, they're going to add up. All right, let's move on to the next slide, which I have here. So one of the things I really love about Texas Roadhouse is they pay a dividend and they are growing and they are doing share buybacks. So this is their dividend history. And if we look in 2020, it was the only time when they kind of fell off and didn't improve there for the year, which is completely understandable. There was a 100-year health crisis where all the restaurants got shut down. But if we fast forward a couple of years past that, you can see it's almost like they never skipped a beat and they just keep raising their dividends. So yeah, pretty impressive. We're going to look at their store count here. So they're also adding store locations. So here we go. In 2025, they added about 35 locations to their Texas Roadhouse, 7 to Bubba 33s, and 5 to the Jaggers. So continually growing, and you can see this chart has projected how many more locations are going to come online in 2026. Now let's talk shares. So we can see here in 2021, they were at 69 million. And at the end of last year, they're at 65 million. So like I said, buying back shares, paying dividends, adding restaurant locations. I mean, what more could you ask for, really? All right, let's look at this chart. We're going to be talking a little bit about their valuation. So Texas Roadhouse usually trades at a forward PE of about 25. If it's lower than 25, that's a time probably to buy. If it's lower than 20, that's probably a time to load the boat. So we're going to take a look, and I have this broken down into quarterly numbers. So right now they're trading at about 25, which is where they are. That's probably pretty fairly valued. If we go back to, let's see, Q2 2022, so June 2022, they're trading under $20 forward PE. So let's go and take a look at the stock price here and see how much are we talking. 2022 was around here in June, so $77. So if you'd bought it then, You would be very, very happy. And let's see here. October, September, October, right around there in 2023. If we go over to this chart, we're going to see 2023 numbers, September, and there it is, under 20. So like I said, if it goes under 20, load the boat, baby, because you are going to make a lot of money. All right. So I currently hold 14 shares in my investing portfolio, which has a market value of almost $2,200. I would love to add more. If that thing goes closer to 20, I will definitely add more. Um, there's a case to be made for maybe getting out of the stock when it's trading at 30. If you have a lot, if I had more and it was trading at 30, within I think the last year or so, I might have gotten out, but you just never know if it's going to go back down. And only having 14 shares, I didn't feel like it was worth it. Plus, I want this to be, this is my one dividend play, or at least the dividend that pays a decent amount. So I really didn't want to lose that. It wasn't worth it in this account for me to let it go. So you can see it's about 13% of my of the account. I have a cost basis of 124. So I'm not up huge on this, but I feel like with Texas Roadhouse, slow and steady wins the race. I recently added $500 to this account, and I am looking to buy at least one, if not two more stocks. I'm not really sure what it's going to be. I'm continually searching. So if you guys are buying anything and have any suggestions, maybe great ideas that I don't know, put it down in the comments. Let me know what you're buying. I'd really be curious to find out. All right. Now, where's Texas Roadhouse going? So I've created a little chart here, or had what is it, Gemini or Claude, one of them, whatever one I was using for this. Do up a little base, bear, and bull case. So in the bear case, we got 10% annual growth. Now this is just earnings per share. Of course, there's a lot of other factors that can come into play here, but just coming out with their EPS. If they're at 10 in 3 years and they're trading at a multiple of 25, which is, like I said, about where they trade most of the time, we're looking at year 3, 215. 32% from there. Won't be like that great, but at the same time, I feel like I'm not losing any money. So my risk versus reward is very, very high. I feel like there's almost no chance that this brand's going down anytime soon. So my base case here, we have it year 3, 15% annual growth, 246. So a little bit better scenario. And then you can see year 5 would be a double up from here. So, and then if they go to 20% annual, which I don't expect them to do, but hey, you never know. Year 5, if they're trading at 25 PE, would be $402. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. I've been in the service industry for a couple decades now, so this is one stock that I feel super confident in. I mean, I sleep very, very well at night. Multiple locations you can go into, hundreds of locations. If you were traveling, you might even be able to find one. We were in Albuquerque and visiting some family, and we went to the Bubba 33s, and just on point for sure. Scratch kitchen, you can tell the food is amazing. Great, affordable place to go out to eat. So yeah, that pretty much sums it up. One other thing we can discuss is who Kent Taylor passed the torch to, right? His name is Jerry Morgan, and under his command, they've been doing amazing. They fell off a little bit last year in their numbers, but inflation has hit them hard. We all know beef has gone up. Things rise, and just like they've pivoted in any, crisis or circumstance that has gotten them down, they always bounce back. Whether, it's the restaurants being shut down. If you took a look at their charts, at the end of the 2000s into the early, 210, 212, around there, you can see when the financial crisis was going on that they did have, some dips, but they bounced right back. I mean, this company is just incredible. So here's a little clip. If you ever listen to any of Texas Roadhouse earnings calls, Jerry Morgan ends the call every time in the same way, and his energy is what I think just comes through. And, you know, I've always said this with the restaurant industry. Everything starts at the top, whether it's good or bad, and just trickles down to the bottom. And you can see it when you walk into a Texas Roadhouse or you go to a Bubba 33's, and you can tell